pivot a little bit. And when we post these recordings, I'm going to split it up into 2 different sections so that you can either go back to making it rain, or if you have an interest in the site editor, you can just watch that particular component of our training today as well. So site editor, Millie, you brought this up, and I know we sort of mentioned that if somebody wanted to dive in a little deeper in their website settings, that we could do that. So that's what I wanted to just take a few minutes to do today. I'm just going to close out of here, and I'm going to get us over to back to our kvCore dashboard. And I want to show you a couple of examples in terms of what I'm talking about when I say site editor. So when you look at your kvCore site, and I have a couple of examples from agents on my team where we've done some editing through site editor to manage the look and feel of their site. So when we talk about site editor, it's really maybe taking your editing and your settings on your website to the next level, maybe 1 or 2 steps up, getting even a little bit more customization and personal feel to take it even more so in line with your personal branding, if you will. So for example, if you take a look here, this was Janet's site. And then I want to also show you quickly Gail's site. Both of them happen to really like the black and white logo and are leveraging that in their marketing, in their lawn signs, in their business cards. So they wanted a website that was, very much the same aesthetic. And we were able to accomplish that through some of the setting changes that you can make in kvCore and in Site Editor. So I just wanted to show you how to do that. So if you had any interest in doing that, you could go ahead and pursue it. From your EXP kvCore dashboard, you want to go into Web and IDX. And first, let me show you, maybe remind you, because we did visit this before, but you want to go into your website settings. So if I'm looking at my website, let me pull it up. So if I'm looking at my website and I scroll down, one of the things that you'll notice that's in contrast, say, to maybe Janet's site, is you'll see how the tiles on my site extend across the whole page, left to right, where on Janet's site, they do not. That's a setting that you can change within your kvCore website settings, okay? So the first thing that you want to think about is, what do I want all of those widgets to look like? That's what these things are called here. So once you come to the site, you have your top photo, you have a search bar, you have your sort of message bar or marquee bar, they call it. And then you have these widgets. These are all called widgets. You have the ability from here, from your website settings, right at the top, to decide what that outline, or what the, I'm trying to think of the word, what the layout will look like, okay? And if I click on that, I clicked on View Examples here, you can see the variety of layouts that you can choose from, okay? And it's very easy to play around. So you can click on any one of these, save it, make sure that you hit the Save button, and then you can go over to your website and refresh it and see the difference, okay? And if you don't like that layout, you can simply hop back over to your dashboard, change it to a different layout, again, save it, and then refresh your site, see what it looks like. The other thing here, before we take it to the sort of next level editing, the other thing that you can do is, let's say I liked that sort of shrunken widget that didn't take up the whole screen. All you have to do is toggle on or off this full width custom area button. Make sure that you're hitting save, or you get that notification in the bottom left corner that it's saved. And then if you hop back over to your website, take the 5 or 10 seconds to refresh it, and you will see that now my widgets do not cover full left to right on the screen. Okay. So that's the first thing that you can do. If you're still in that space where you don't quite like how your website looks, those are a couple of the aesthetics that you can give consideration to. But let's say you wanted to change up the messaging. Maybe you didn't want the words get started or your search starts here, or maybe you wanted to change up your photos, your illustrations. So if I take a look back at what we did with Janet's, notice that we sort of took out the people and like the rooms of the house kind of thing and replaced it with images that very much tied in with the black and white and very much went more for sort of that clean, modern look, if you will. And again, it speaks to you and your personality. So where my website might be all about the warm and fuzzy and the blanket on the couch and the Christmas tree at the holiday season, you have the ability to edit to make your site look like you and feel like you. So the way that you can do that is I'm going to go back to my kvCore dashboard. And if I go into web and IDX, initially we were up here in website settings. And that's where we can make some of those changes with our widget layout and with our width. But if I want to make that next level set of changes, I want to go into the site editor. Once you do that, you'll notice that it opened a new window with my website. But now what it's done is the very top of the website still looks the same, still has my landing page, my homepage photo, still has my search options, still has my marquee bar. But then once I scroll down, you'll see that it looks a little bit different. Now I have all of these editing icons, and I have the ability to click in different places within the widget section of my site to make more advanced changes. Okay. Now, this is a little bit finicky. So if you were joining us last week for the landing pages and squeeze pages, and we talked about don't double click, you can't hit, there's no undo button. This is kind of the same way, but the good news is all you have to do if you mess up or aren't happy with the result, simply close out of this window without saving it. And then it'll just revert back to the exact settings that you had before you entered the site editor. Okay. So let's say I wanted to change the photos in my widgets, that I wanted to go more the route of some of what you saw with Janet and Gail's sites. What you would do first, plan ahead. Think about what images you want, and then make sure you go the route of securing either free photos, or if you have, a Shutterstock or a similar subscription account, make sure that you are selecting images that you have permission to use with no copyright violation. That's up to you to figure out. For me, I use Shutterstock. So I went ahead to prepare for today, and I know I needed 5 images for these 5 widgets. So I have 5 images ready and downloaded that we're going to use today. So the way that I'm going to do that is in the site editor, I'm going to click on this first photo, and you can kind of see it's a little bit faint, but you can kind of see that it's now got a blue outline around it. And I also have this box underneath it with some options. I'm going to remove the photo. Okay, now notice what happens as soon as I move the photo, my verbiage moved over to the left. Well, have no fear. We're not done yet. So the next step is we're going to go up to this little image button to insert an image. Okay, so I'm just going to click on that button, and then it's going to ask me to drop an image in. When I do that, I just have to go to the folder where I have my images ready to go. Select my image and insert it. And voila, my new image is there. Now I also have the ability, if I click over into the accompanying verbiage section of these widgets, I can make changes. So maybe I don't like your home search. Your search starts here. Maybe I like begin your home search, just as an example. Okay. You can also even click within the Get Started button and change the words Get Started if you didn't like it. Now understand, so far I've made some edits, but I haven't saved anything yet. There's a little save icon, which you would have to utilize in order to be able to save these changes and make them visible to the public. What are you thinking, Rochelle?
Are there certain not that, I love all this like stuff like graphics and everything in Canva. And in my head, I'm like, oh, I can make my own pictures, but I will go down that rabbit hole so fast. But just a quick question, are there certain size requirements for these photos?
That's a great question. Because if you remember when we talked about this image, if you wanted to upload a photo for this background image on your homepage, it does have to very specifically be, I think it's 1600 by 600. But in this case, with these photos, what I've generally found is that for Shutterstock, you could download like small, medium, large, or then you can go custom. I find for the most part that I download medium and have absolutely no problem with formatting for the widget photos. Right. But I think you could do medium or large and be fine. I probably just wouldn't do small because I don't know that small will translate and really fill the space sufficiently.
Thank you.
Okay, so that's the first one. You can also, if you wanted to click into a section as we work down, again, if I wanted to change another image, I can go ahead and trash can that image and then go back to insert another photo. What's my home worth? So let's say we go with the piggy bank. Okay, and it inserts it as long as I don't move my cursor after I delete the initial image, it'll insert my new image right where the old image was residing. Okay. Now, the other thing that you can do is you can change the formatting and the colors. So if I wanted this particular background behind what's my home worth to stay consistent with sort of the black and white color scheme, then I can simply go up to these different icons, click on the background, and it should make the change, but it didn't. See, here's a good test because I know it's possible because I did it with Galen. Okay, let me remind myself. All right, so let's go through and just change our other images, and then I'm going to go back because if you look, just going to toggle over here real quick. You'll see what I'm talking about, that you do have the ability absolutely to change the background colors so that if you wanted to go with a feel, again, with a specific color scheme, you can carry that throughout using the site editor. So give me 1 second, I'll circle back with that. So let's go ahead, say instant listing alerts. Whoops. I'm going to click my trash can, click my image button, and let's see, let's find this one. And maybe for pre-approved. And then maybe for the questions.
Yes.
Okay.
So,
oh, go ahead, Millie. I'm sorry.
Sorry, no, you're fine. So
I have my
one of my
images,
things,
so go ahead.
And I appreciate the thank you because I found I saw, I think I was looking at Gail's and she had her own personal pictures. So I put that in there, but I find that my site is bulky. Like the widgets are just, at least for my liking, they're too bulky. So I had gone in and then I saw that there's a little, change size thing.
Mm-hmm.
Within it, but you have to type in your size. And I was playing around with it and it wouldn't update. I don't know, maybe if I didn't give it enough time, but if I wanted to make the widgets a little bit tinier, like the blocks tinier.
So could I pull up your site? Would that be okay?
Oh yeah, that's fine.
So here you want your blocks to be even smaller. This is great. I love your bright colors. So you like these blocks to be even tighter.
Yeah, just a little tighter.
Okay.
But I didn't know what size, because I remember you saying, it could be a little finicky with size wise. And I was like, I was playing around with it, but it wasn't making it tinier. So I said, what, let me just cancel out, keep the original size for now. Um,
That's a really good question because I've gone between full screen width and then I've sort of toggled that off to remove that, but I
mhm.
haven't actually tried to make them even smaller than those two sort of preset options.
Okay.
Let me just see.
It was like if you click a block, well, yours is not showing up, but if you scroll down to another block, I don't know why it's not, but
Yeah,
like, um,
we don't want that.
uh-oh.
Go back to the home editor. Go ahead. So if we scroll down,
Like if you go back to the site editor and
mhm,
then click on one of those blocks real, let me see how I did it. Yeah, that little X
sure.
there.
To
So
change that.
I chose that and then I made small, smaller sizes. I didn't know what the proportion was, but it wasn't changing it on my site. And I was like, unless I just leave it as is. But I think for me it's both. It's like ugh.
Oh, here.
Yeah.
So, all right, let's test it out. Yeah, no change. Okay, so I understand exactly what you're trying to accomplish. So let me do a little digging on that and see what we might be able to do to get that. And let me ask you one question. When you went to website settings and you looked at these different layout examples, you really like this, the modern side by side is the one
I
that we're
do.
looking at, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I do like the modern side by
Okay.
side. Yeah, that I do.
Okay. All right. Let me see if there's a way to get that sort of detailed about size. Because I honestly, that's a really good question that's never come up before. So let me see what we might be able to find out and I'll circle back with you.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Yeah, sure. Let me see. I just want to look at this custom code. Not that I'm a code person, so I'm not making any changes there, but okay. Yeah. So, but again, it's really, as long as you plan out ahead of time, if you wanted to go ahead and personalize these images or any of the verbiage, it's not terribly difficult to do. Just again, plan ahead, have your images ready, maybe think through what your verbiage is going to be so that when you get to this point and you're in the site editor, you're simply clicking, deleting the image and inserting a new image. And it happens pretty seamlessly. Once you're done, then you can just go ahead and hit save, return back to your kvCore. You can refresh your site and then you should immediately see the results of what you did. If you don't like it or you're not satisfied with it, just go back into the site editor and modify it again. That's what's great about all of these features with the website is you can see in pretty close to real time what your changes are and decide if you like them or don't like them, and then just either revert back or make a new change. It's not like you have to wait hours or days to know what the result of your edits will look like. Okay, so I'll find out a little bit. So what just to clarify, what Millie is asking is, in her case, just like with Gail and Janet's sites, she has gone ahead and pulled her widgets so that they do not stretch full screen, but she wanted to take it that one step further and make them even maybe a little bit smaller and a little bit tighter. So we're going to pursue finding out about that for her. Okay. All right, great. Are there any other questions about the site editor or any
Yes,
components of if something, oh, go ahead, Anixa.
I have a question.
Yes.
So where do you get, because I don't have anything on my website, just like the generic, where do you get the content? Like when they click, what is my home worth? Does it actually take them somewhere where they can put that information in?
Yep. So let me
And
show
where
you.
do you get that from so that you can stick it in your website?
So this is all code that's written into the back end of the site build with kvCore. So what
Mhm.
essentially is happening there, let me just open up a couple of versions of my page so you can. So if somebody comes to your home page, they can either get to that widget, what's my home worth, or they can go up to this sell feature right here at the top if they're interested in selling. And in either case, they're going to get this same box, see what your home is worth. Now, full disclosure, I will tell you that I was working with a couple of agents on my team who are in the process of building a postcard campaign, and they want to utilize their QR code. And they want the QR code to bring them to this site so that they can register to get their home value. What we're seeing happening for our team members, which I don't think is just impacting our team, but when somebody registers, they're getting the home value results. But when the lead comes into your kvCore, or at least we've experienced this with multiple people, when the lead comes into kvCore, it's not giving us the property address that they searched, which is a significant piece of information, right? If somebody registers on your site to get their home value, there's no way the agent should have to go back and ask them for that home address again. That should automatically come in. And the Inside Real Estate folks have acknowledged that, and there's a ticket with the engineers to get it resolved. I haven't gotten an update as of Friday afternoon. They were still working with the engineers. So we're continuing to push that. But the idea is that whether they use the QR code, whether they come to your sell page, or whether they click on that find instantly, they can come here, enter the home, hit next, and they will get a report that it'll essentially show them the first piece that gives them an idea of their value. And then it'll prompt them, do you agree or disagree with this home value? They have to respond, agree or disagree, and give their email and phone number and hit submit in order to be able to unlock the other components of the report. So from a visitor standpoint, a very robust and easy feature to utilize, but it's not where it needs to be from the agent standpoint and getting the information that you should get instantaneously to know what address a person is searching. I mean, imagine knowing that address and being able to so quickly run that in the MLS to know, or, a property records website to know how long a person's been in the property. You can quickly get tax records. There are so many things that you can do in 1 or 2 minutes before you even make contact with that lead to know about that property that they searched. So that's important information. So we're working on that, but I hope that answers your question, Nixa. So there are a couple of different ways that you get to this point. If you wanted to be able to refer people to this point, then I think once that functionality works, then the QR code is a really good way to do that. Or you can always use this URL at the top. See how it's not just my website. It's got the seller valuation component at the end. So if you get to that, if you click through on your website to get to this point, you can just take that URL and utilize it as well.
All right, I'm going to try.
Well, if you need help, call me and we can do it one-on-one too.
All right, expect a phone call.
Yes, I'm here.
I have a
All right,
follow-up question
great.
with that.
Yeah.
This will be my last one.
Not at all.
When it comes to the QR code, and by the way, you've answered all the questions in my email, so thank you. This will be the final question with it.
Awesome.
It will be
awesome.
I just, when it comes to QR codes, are they solely are they really just good for just printed material, like, or is that like the main thing? You just, when you're printing, like if you're doing flyers and things like that, that's the best way, not really the best functionality elsewhere, because you could just, I guess, put links, or
I would say that is probably the case, that the QR code. So QR code or a link or a button, any of those things, what you're trying to do is call a lead to action, to get them to register, to get them to visit your site, to get them to engage with you in some way. So in my mind, if you're going to send an email or a text message, I think a link is easier to click on than to try and figure out, like, let's say that you open your email on your phone. Like, it almost feels to me like it would be more challenging for someone to figure out how to scan the QR code on their phone when it's on an email in their phone. That makes sense, as opposed to just clicking on a link to take them wherever you want them to go. Printed materials, if somebody's looking at a letter, postcard, and you could be doing any number of things. You could be working in a neighborhood with a farm, and maybe you got some, custom cookies made, and you put a little gift tag on the cookie and it's got your QR code on the back. You're talking about now something in print where a person can't click on a link. So now they need some way to find you from a technology standpoint. So that's really where the QR code becomes very effective. That's how they get to you. So being able to, maybe you could put your business card on the front, put the QR code on the back, or, however you set it up. But yes, would definitely say the long way to answer your question is that the QR code is probably more useful in print. And if you're working from text, email, or some other digital format, I really think links are more effective.
Appreciate that. And then the only other thing, I guess this will be a separate topic, was, I guess, in creation to this, I know that the kvCore built-in QR code just goes to our main website, but like you were saying, your team has it built to go to this like specific page. If maybe there's a way you can tell how to get a QR code for specific pages.
So there are free or paid for services that you can research on the web. Our QR code, both at my individual agent level and at our team level, goes to our home pages for either my individual site or our team site. If you wanted a QR code that specifically took you here, then I don't have one that I can recommend, but I know that there are numerous ones out there. And if you just Googled how to get a free QR code or how to subscribe for QR codes, depending on if you're in that space where you want to create numerous QR codes for different purposes, then, like, for example, we did landing pages and squeeze pages, and we talked about creating hashtags that are different for each of those landing pages, so that when you have a lead come in, you'll know what page they found, what landing page they clicked on to get to you. The same idea with a QR code. If you do a lot of postcard mailers or a variety of programs in different towns or different neighborhoods, then you might have an interest in leveraging different QR codes, because then not only can you send people to different places or to different like end results, like end locations like this, but you could also track which QR code is performing better, if you will. So there are paid subscriptions that you can participate in for, a pretty reasonable fee. Like, I think you can pay $20 or $30 a month if that was something that you were really heavily into. But generally speaking, if you just want to be able to get people to you, to find you and your online presence, I think the free QR code that kvCore offers to take you to your homepage is more than sufficient. I'm just not happy with this one particular cell page not working correctly.
Perfect. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah, sure.
Millie, you can also have your QR code set up to like a link tree. And then, so mine is set up to my link tree, and then on the link tree, it has different buttons, just to reach out right away. It points to my website. But now that I'm thinking about it, I should even have one that's just specifically goes right to seller evaluation. So that's because otherwise, yeah, you're buying a whole bunch of different QR codes. So, I don't know, maybe it's better to have separate ones, but for now, I'm kind of having them all in the link tree.
And
That's a good
tell me,
idea.
like, with your link tree, are you using that like in your email signature? Where are you leveraging that and how?
So with Linktree, I've been using that a couple of months ago. I got hacked on Facebook. So I was using it on Facebook and Instagram and everything. So it would be, so now I'm getting back on social media again, but I would have it, like, just say for Instagram, I would be right in the bio section. And then I have the Linktree in my email as well, my email signature is part of my email signature. But then I use the QR code for my mailers, and then so the QR code goes to my Linktree, and then it's broken down by, by different things, different buttons. But like I said, I have to go back and look at it because I don't think I have a specific seller evaluation on there. It goes to my website, but it doesn't. I want those sellers.
Yeah.
But I like
And
it.
so let me ask you, when you set up your QR code to go to your link tree, what service did you use to generate that QR code? Was it like a free online service? Because there are a number.
Yeah, no, it's not a free one, but it's not expensive. I think it's God, I knew you were going to ask me that too. I think it's QRcode.com. I'll find out. But it's maybe like, I think $11 a year. Like, it's not expensive at all. So you could buy more, but I don't know, I'm cheap. And so I think I get 2.
Buy what you need. Okay.
Right, I get 2. But the thing is, I don't know, overwhelm sometimes gets to me too. So if I had 50 different QR codes for different things, I'd probably, I'd be overwhelmed. And I'm trying to reach, the masses, I guess, with my little farms and stuff like that. So I want one QR code on there. But I want to say it's QRcode.com. So I have to see. But yeah, it's like, I want to say maybe $11 for the QR code. It's not expensive at all.
So, and that's for the year, for like a one-time?
That was for the year. Yeah. And that's why, so I know that kvCore has theirs, but that's just bringing you right to your website, right?
Homepage. Yes.
Right.
To your homepage.
Right. Yep. So it wouldn't necessarily point me to seller valuation or buyers. Correct. It just brings you to the page.
Correct.
Right. Okay.
And then there's that next step of,
okay. I want to send out just sold cards. Okay. To an area around the listing. So I wanted to add a QR code to the postcard to say, like, do you want to know what your home is worth? Blah, blah, blah. So I guess you're saying if I use the EXP provided QR code, it will bring me to my site as opposed to a specific link where they could get a valuation.
Correct.
Am I correct?
That is correct. Yes. So if you were to go, if you're in your kvCore dashboard and you go to Web and IDX, and then you go to this section on embeds, this QR code is given to you essentially for free at no additional cost as part of your kvCore package built into your $85 a month fee with EXP. But like to what Rochelle is saying, if you wanted to create a QR code that went directly to that sell value link or maybe sort of like subpage of your site, or if you wanted it to go somewhere else, like what Rochelle did was she subscribed to a service where she could create a QR code that takes a visitor to a multifaceted profile of her so that they can get to her through different social media channels. They can get to her through email. And now, as she's saying, she wants to maybe enhance that to include this seller valuation link. So if you wanted to do that, there are either free or nominal fee platforms outside of kvCore that you can use to get a QR code. But that's not something that you can do within kvCore you can't request an additional QR code at this point. You just get that one code.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
So I have a question. So Lynette just said that Lynette, is that sold in your MLS in kvCore?
It should be.
It should be. Well, this is okay. So I guess my question is this. So Deanna was saying that I'm in Middlesex County. So I have a few listings like out of my county, Middlesex or in Monmouth. So I don't even know how to say it. So if I had as just sold in Monmouth, that wouldn't tie into my kvCore, right? Because I don't have that addition because my kvCore is just Middlesex.
So that would tie into your primary, correct?
Only the primary. Yeah. So I guess that wouldn't work for me unless I had those add-ons. That's why I was asking Lynette, like, is yours right in your MLS or is it Or do you have add-ons?
I have 2 MLSs, so the souls are in those areas.
Right. Doesn't she need to have both MLSs in the kvCore to have it tie in?
Yes.
Or
Yes. So from a standpoint of utilizing the functionality of your website. So if you look at let's see, is this Millie? I love your
that.
picture
That's so
there.
pretty.
I love that. I didn't scroll
I
down
got
far
that.
enough
You
to
see, I'm
look.
telling you, your stuff is so applicable. I was like, listen, and it was one of the sites that you showed. I don't know if it was Gail. It's probably Gail. And I was like,
Yeah.
hold on. I like that. I'm gonna do that.
Love it.
That's
Love
so
it.
cute.
Love it. Love it. So if you scroll down below the widgets and you look at just listed, our listings, just reduced. So there's a place in here where you can identify, you have choices, right? These are not set in stone. So you can go into your background settings and decide which, maybe you want all open houses to appear on one of these carousels. So one of your options is my listings. So as opposed to our listings being the brokerage, my listings being anything that's personally listed by you. If you are actively using multiple MLSs, then you want to leverage the ability to feed those multiple MLSs into your one kvCore account. Remember, we talked about how it's a fairly new thing that you no longer have to pay to have separate website for every MLS. Now you can have one site and you can have 3 MLSs feed into it. So you definitely want to make sure that you set that up or utilize that so that if somebody is looking at my listings on your site, they will not miss out on seeing things that you did in Monmouth as opposed to Middlesex County.
And we just reach out to the kvCore team, just let them know that we just want those added.
Yep. What I'll do, Rochelle, is I'll forward again. There's, I think, a couple of links that go with that. One is like informational, and then one might be like the sign up. So I'll send you that information again so you have it handy.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, sure.
But yeah, going back to Lynette's question, yeah, right. She just needs to put in the seller valuation in her kvCore, in her, not her kvCore, in her QR code.
QR code. Yes. Yep. But I encourage each of you to, and I've mentioned this, I think, so many times as we've done this training, know the visitor's experience. So you, after we are done today, go to this sell page on your site and enter a property address. And then when you're prompted, enter an email address that's not your EXP or your work email. You know, if you maybe use your spouse or, use your like online shopping email or, that old Yahoo account that you haven't used, dust it off and use it, right? So what it'll do is from a user standpoint, you can see what the result looks like. You can see what the visitor's experience is going to be, what type of result they get. But then even more importantly, you're going to see how that comes into your kvCore as a lead. And if you're having the same problem where when that lead comes in, you don't see the property address, let me know. Because like I said, we already have an active ticket where we're working with the engineers, but we don't know how widespread that issue is. So, and if it's affecting you, then I can keep you posted when we find out what the resolution is, so we can make sure yours is resolved as well. Okay. Anything else you could think of? Either anything with the site, anything going back to making it rain that we might not have covered or that you might have thought of? So
I
Rochelle,
think you might have mentioned this before.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. How
No,
to
don't.
add a chat box on your site?
Oh, yes. That's a bit of a there's a few steps involved in that one. So if you want to add
Okay.
the chat box to be able to tie into your Facebook Messenger, I'm going to call you, Lynette, and we'll get that set up.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you. I'm on
Yeah,
tech
sure.
overload right now.
I get it. I totally get it. So Lynette, we'll get you set up with the chat feature. Rochelle going to get you the information for the multiple MLSs. And then Millie, we're going to follow up for you on, is there any way that we can further customize those tile sizes, those widget sizes?
Much appreciated.
Okay, great. Awesome. Thank you all so much for your time. I hope you got something valuable today. And remember, we have 2 more weeks, extra coffee next week because those newsletters take a little bit of extra brain power. And then we're going to wrap up one more for kvCore on the go. And then it's going to be time to say Happy New Year. So I can't believe time has gone by so fast. But thank you so much. Any questions that you have, you'll let me know. And if anybody at any point does need some one-on-one time and you just want to go through some things, I do have a Calendly link in my email and try to block off a few hours every week for whatever anybody needs. So feel free to leverage that. I'm happy to help wherever I can. Okay.
Perfect.
Thank
See
you
you
all
next week.
so much. Have a
Thank
good
you.
rest of the week. And
Likewise.
let's go. That to-do list, that shopping list has got to be tackled today. So thank you so much, everybody. Take care.
Hi, thank you.
All right. Bye-bye.